What up, everybody? It's your boy Solo Fo, and I just want to do today's video. I want to say I got a question for all the street niggas and shit like that. So, most of us when we was coming up and shit, we ain't really know what being in the streets really meant. We didn't really know what the risk of actually being in the streets was. And when we jumped out into the streets, it was exciting, it was thrilling because, most of us come from the same situation. Most of us have, single parent household, not a lot of money in our pocket and shit like that. Shoes kind of busted up, clothes not the best. And, we compare ourselves to other people that, did have whatever. And even the ones that did have a certain type of look and a certain type of whatever. Once we actually got a little older, probably 12, 13, whatever, we started doing a little bit more. We wasn't the same, that's when we start really making our transition from being like kids to like being something different. Like we wasn't just kids no more because of the way that we live. We started doing that. We started acting out, fighting each other. We started gang banging. I gang bang myself. All this shit that I'm going to say, I glorified the shit myself at one point in time. And what I want to say is, let me say the question first. I want to know if you could go back and basically work a 9 to 5 with all your homeboys that are dead and gone and in jail, or basically, are the streets that much worth it? Are the streets worth it to the point of where you feel like, hey, you know what? Everybody knew what they was getting into. So, it is what it is. We out there and whatever. Because I'll tell y'all, I lost a lot of homeboys and shit like that. And how it started ain't how it was supposed to be, how it was supposed to go. And I don't mean it like, people wasn't supposed to die, nothing like that. Because we know how the streets and shit like that work. Everybody knew that, we already had it in the back of our mind from a young age that people could die, could, whatever, end up on drugs, being locked up for the rest of their life. We knew it in the back of our head. But when we was out there at the age like 12, 13, we just, innocent. I don't mean innocent gangbangers, but we was innocent gangbangers. We was sitting there thinking like, oh, I don't like them niggas because we from this side. They don't like us because we from this side. Even the niggas from our own block, we beef with the niggas. Hey, you this, you that, Blood Crip, East Side, West Side, this place, that place. And, we didn't really see that it would grow into something that would be as powerful as it basically is. Because now that I'm the age of 30 and I actually look back and I stop to think like, okay, so I got this person gone, that person gone, this person locked up for life of murder, this person locked up for drugs, this person locked up for this, this, and that. And when you stop and you really think like, damn, I really wish that somehow, some way, for me personally, I could have influenced my homeboys and my friends and my family to go out and make better decisions from the start of the age of 12 and 13, because we didn't know at that age what it really meant. All we knew is we didn't want the conditions that we were in. And when you're in those conditions, you don't stop to think like, oh, this might go wrong or that might go wrong. You thinking, hey, I'm with these niggas. These is my niggas. Can't nobody touch not one of my niggas because, we all official. We got guns. We gonna fight. We gonna whatever. And you thinking, you gonna handle it. And then one person dies. And, it hurts the hood. It fucks up the hood. And, niggas go slide and go get back for, the first nigga that you lost. Then another nigga. Then another nigga. And then you don't even know, you get so entrenched in the shit that you don't even know how all these beefs started, how all of these beefs really got the way they were. You got this person that may have died for a whole nother reason outside of just where you from and what you claim. It's because once you get in the streets, even the dope game, even dealing with the dope game, that might take shit to a whole different level or a whole different I'm trying to say my stuff right, but it's even dealing with the dope game, it's you might start entangling with niggas from other hoods, and y'all start doing y'all shit together, and y'all still right, but you don't know which situation might end up being a setup, which niggas might end up backdooring you. You don't know what situation might occur. Everybody's fine with the risk. Everybody's okay. I'm going to hold my shit down. I'm going to make sure I'm straight. But when you start to really start to calculate, because everybody can't always, there's a lot of niggas that done died with a gun in their hand. There's a lot of niggas that done got pulled over with the wrong shit in the car. There's a lot of niggas that done got caught thinking that they didn't hit a smooth, they didn't caught a smooth body. They thinking, oh, I did this right, I did that right, gun wiped down, none of the bullets was touched, all this, you thinking like, hey, I done pulled everything off right, and it be something little. You roll past a gas station and they connected you to it. They like just anything, and now you got your peoples locked up in jail for life, or just anything. Your peoples might get caught in the middle of some shit. And, and then you sit around 10, 15 years later, and you start to look back and you be like, damn, we lost this one. We lost that one. This one ain't never coming home. This one ain't never coming home. He got 10 years. He got this amount of time. And you start to really look around and like, I want to know is the things that we thought, because when we sought out in the streets, and I'm trying to say this the right way, but when we was jumping out into the streets, we was thinking clothes. We was thinking, hey man, we going to have the bitches. We thinking that, life going to be gravy, because, we doing what we saw and what we thought was right, because, our fathers did it. Our uncles did it. Our, people's, even though they didn't show us the way, they left the crumbs there for us to put shit together. And even like going to the basketball court, when we used to go to the basketball court, we used to see all the dope dealers outside playing basketball, because at one point in time that was they hood. And now that we done grew up, it's our hood. And then the next generation that's coming up, that's they hood. That's they shit. And that's what they stand on. And that's what they're going to live and die by. And then they don't know that 10 years later, that, niggas gonna think, okay, yeah, we got back for, that one, cause we got back, we slid back, we did this and that. And, we thinking like, we getting back. But then once you get so many years into the shit, once you done got so many years passed and removed, you start to count the shit up and you like, damn, we lost this one. We just, like I said before, we lost all of these people. And my question really is just like, now that we are of a certain age, do you ever stop to think, as somebody that was in the street, is in the street, or going through the streets currently, or whatever it is that you want to say, do you ever stop and sit back and think like, damn, you know what? If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have glorified the shit the way that I glorified it at one point in time. Because at one point in time, you couldn't have told me that gang banging wasn't life. You couldn't have told me that. You couldn't have told me, Tonio, you in a couple years, you gonna be this way and you ain't never gonna have to think about that, and you're gonna be much better off for it, which, whatever. But you couldn't have told me that. So back then, we throwing up gang signs, we repping our hood, and we just hoping that somebody say something to us, because we'll go all the way out for the whole situation. And now that I'm looking back at it, we was just dumbass kids. We was really just some dumbass kids that was lost in the world, because what our parents and stuff didn't provide us, we tried to make up for the shit. We tried to make up, because it wasn't fun being broke. It wasn't fun. Once we found out we could go out here and get our own J's, once we found out we could go out here and females looked at you a certain type of way, the way that they smile at you and the way that they act, and even the females that you sitting here like, bro, I never thought I could fuck with a female like her. The way they be willing to get down with the get down just because, like, you thinking like, hey, life is gravy, life is smooth. And I'm not saying that like anybody didn't know the risk, because we all knew the risk. We all knew the risk of being in the streets. But once you actually look back, if you got 10 dead homies if you got 10 niggas that you lost to the streets, do you ever sit back and think like, damn, you know what? Hey, that nigga was never supposed to be in the streets for real, for real. Not saying that because he died, he wasn't supposed to be in the streets. But I know plenty of niggas that was doing the right thing in football and basketball. You know, they had a good mind on their shoulders, and some would tell y'all that's watching that, hey, back in the day, Tonio was a smart nigga. We don't know why he ventured off into doing this, because he honestly had the potential to go and be that. It's so many stories like that, but because we live in that life that we live in, and you can't see 10, 15 years past where you are. All you know is that in the moment, females like a nigga that got a little bit of coming off of that stuff. Females like that dude. My bad, y'all. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. But, you know, back in the day, people had love. People had true, genuine love for niggas that was in the streets. Like, even the respect that you get from your other homeboys and shit like that. Like, hey, because, you know, hey, don't fuck with cuz, because, you know, cuz really wanted them, you know, hey, and you know, it's a brotherhood. It's fun. It's family at first. Because when you got all the niggas that you went to middle school and high school with, and you like, hey, bro, we the biggest, ain't nobody gonna fuck with us type of thing. You know, you really looking at it like, bro, we them ones, bro. Can't nobody deal with us like that, because we got this nigga over here, this nigga down to fight. We got this nigga over here, he got the guns and shit like that. And it's like, in your mind, you really telling yourself that being in the streets is the best thing in the world, because you making money that you never thought that you could make before. You getting love in a way that you never thought that you could get love before. And you could go from being the bummy broke nigga to being the most popular nigga just making a couple $100. And then, you know, when you get a little older, because when you're younger, $500, $600, $700 at a time, that shit look like you eating. That shit look like you got the world in your pocket whenever you a certain age. But then once you start to cross that line of 18, 19, and 20 and stuff like that, once you cross that line, then the dope money changes up for you, and you making a whole different entire number. And now you're going to get in the nice cars. You going out and you doing even more than what you could before. And in your mind, you know, you thinking like, hey, man, you know, all this shit is worth it. All this shit is really worth being and doing what I'm doing right now. But then just one day, do you ever stop back to sit and think like, damn, you know what? When I think back on it, we lost. So for me, I lost my cousin, Ant. Ant was trying to change his life. He went out to Colorado, and I don't know the full thing about his case, but he got killed in Colorado. I got a homeboy, Corey. We still don't even know what happened to Corey. Like, there's so many speculated situations about what happened to him. And then we got my cousin. He got killed in his house. He got shot at multiple times. Like, niggas shot through his door, and he got hit multiple times in multiple different situations. And then it's just like, thinking back, I can go through so many people. And then if I started talking about all the people that I knew that are in jail right now, and I ain't seen these niggas since they were 20, 22, and hell, some of them I ain't seen since they was the age of 17 and 18 and stuff like that. And I'm a full 30 years old right now. I still ain't seen my homeboys. You do start to sit back and think like, damn, was it really worth it? Did we really truly understand? Because like I said, you understand what comes with the streets whenever you start getting into the streets, but you don't fully grasp what life means until you turn a certain age. Once I turned like 22, 23, I looked at life completely different than what I did when I was 18 and 17 and stuff. Whenever I thought I was out here really doing something, I started looking at life so much because life has so much more than to offer than what I knew at that point in time. But some people get so embedded into being in the streets that they can't see out of it. And luckily I had some people that helped me see my way out the streets. But for so many more, I really do wonder, like, even if you stayed in the streets for up until you 30, up until you 31, I don't know what age y'all are currently watching this right now, but if you stayed into the streets that long, do you ever really sit back and think, damn, me and all 10 of my homeboys that are gone, whether they did or in jail, we could have fucking still been alive, and we could be working a 9 to 5, whether somebody was working at Dairy Queens and somebody was working at Thornton's. Not losing my homeboys to the streets would have been worth so much more to me than even bothering with dealing with the streets at all. And I wonder, does anybody else that has been in the streets ever stop to think like, damn, if we never promoted it, because I was somebody that promoted it. I glorified the fuck out of gang banging at one point in time. I thought it was no other life other than gang banging because I seen so many people in my older generations do it that I just thought it was a normal thing. So gang banging, fighting, doing whatever it was that we needed to do to be, you know, them ones in the streets. I thought that was it. I thought that was what life was. But now, just like, is there any other dudes that really sit back and think, damn, you know what? If I really think about it, bruh, I wish that we could have been the lame niggas that just would have worked at Target. It could have been all 10 of us having a ball in Target instead of having these boys gone. And you just sit back and you just kind of think about it sometimes. Yeah, but, you know, that was just my thoughts. You know, I'm not going to drag it out too long, and maybe I'll do another video on it sooner than later, but this has been y'all boy Solo Foe, and this has been So What's the Issue. You know, just wondering, like, does anybody else stop and think about that? But thank y'all for watching.